Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. James Rule XRP. Follow me at All the Money on X. Well, this morning I went and took my walk in the park like I always do, and I brought some peanuts with me. Well, this morning I had an entire family of squirrels come up to me for peanuts, and each time I go, they get closer.
Look at all the squirrels.
They get closer and closer, and I could just about hand it to them with my hand, but I just throw a few peanuts on the ground, and they keep coming around, and they keep coming around. And there was probably 6 or 8 of them right here in this area, and that one right there is just staring at me like, okay, can you go ahead and walk away so I can grab one of those peanuts? I hope everybody's doing fantastic. It is about 10:30 a.m. here in Texas. The sun is shining. I'm going to make a quick video. Lots of things to do today. Lots of news to talk about. Like I said before, follow me at All the Money on X, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. So I was in a Twitter Spaces this morning, and we were talking about crypto and drones in Australia. Some of my friends from Australia were in there. And one of the guys I was talking to in Australia said that short-term capital gains on crypto is taxed 50%, people. And long-term capital gains is taxed roughly 20, he said. But if you cash out crypto in Australia before a year's time of holding it, you're going to pay a 50% tax. Well, with iTrustCapital, you can buy and sell crypto inside of a Roth IRA, and it differs from an exchange. I've just created a Roth about 3 years ago, and in 5 years from now, when it matures, I can cash it out with zero capital gains. And here's an example. On an exchange, you buy some Bitcoin for $10,000. The value of your Bitcoin appreciates to $60,000. So you sell your Bitcoin for a capital gain of $50,000 with a 15% tax. That would be $7,500 capital gains tax. But with a Roth IRA, you buy the same Bitcoin for $10,000, it goes to $60,000. You sell your Bitcoin for a capital gain of $50,000, and your tax gains or your capital gains are non-taxable. Zero taxes paid in a Roth IRA with iTrustCapital. I'm tongue twisted this morning. I'm sorry. Click on the link below, sign up for free, and tell them James Rule XRP sent you by. Let's take a look at numbers. 2.54 trillion. XRP is 134, still in the number 4 position. Bitcoin is 72,810, and Ethereum is around 2250. Let's go ahead and get into the news. So Raoul Pal interviewed Tom Farley. Tom Farley is the CEO at Bullish. He is the formerly president of the New York Stock Exchange, and Bullish is the digital asset exchange offering market-leading order depth and consistency tight spreads on all in a regulated environment. Now, Tom Farley is very well educated. He's educated in the world of the New York Stock Exchange. He is now very well educated in the world of crypto. And he talks about how retail competition in crypto is crazy. He talks about these different things. He even mentions Solana, Ethereum, Cardano, Ripple, and Midnight. And listen to this 3-minute clip, and he tells you how the world of tokenization is evolving, how the big players are starting to come to fruition, and he gives you his own perspective. Have a listen here.
The original libertarian ethos of crypto looks at someone like me who's been in regulated land my whole career, talking about running a compliant exchange, and they're like, GTFO, like, do we really need this guy? I get it, I get it. Number one. Number two, the retail exchanges were the ones going to the moon, right? 2020, 2021, 2022. So it was painful. And there were some tough conversations at the board, like, have we just planted the flag wrong? It does feel like it's swung back in the sense that, first of all, the retail competition in crypto is crazy. As if it wasn't enough, now it's, Schwab is coming in and E-Trade is coming in, and Revolut is really good at competing. And even this Futu company, this company has a friggin' $20 billion market cap, I think. And nobody's heard of them yet. They've run Moo here in the U.S. People, so on and so forth. So I do think retail's can be a tough spot, and I do think institutions are going to continue to come in big ways, especially if, and now we get to the point of your question, especially if we see more and more asset classes move online. And so let's talk about this tokenization thing. So is the blockchain technology going to be helpful and additive for the market writ large for some of these asset classes? I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. And it certainly is yes in specific cases. But I think the ability to have 24/7 trading, I think the ability to more easily lend, borrow these assets, I think the ability to give issuers more transparency about their holders and the patterns of buying and selling of their holders, and I think the ability to rewrite certain corners of market infrastructure to cut costs, when you package all those together, I think they're worthwhile. And so I tend not to think this is a hype cycle, but I'm also monitoring it closely because there have been some hype cycles. Like let's be clear. I mean, it was way back in the year 2025 when people were hyping up creator coins. So I we're circumspect about it, but my sense is it's a big deal. And in that world, you have a perfectly established financial infrastructure for trading equities or bonds or mortgages or whatever with liquidity. And now you move that shit onto blockchain technology, whatever blockchain wins. We work a lot with Solana, but clearly Ethereum, Cardano, Ripple. I don't know. I think there's room for several winners. And permission chains, Midnight, so on and so forth. So now this stuff moves there. You're going to have a gap in liquidity because you're fragmenting it. Yeah, it's just not going to move right away. I've seen this before. I've seen it a million times, and nobody likes to trade on illiquid platforms. And so we believe there's a role for us to play. Much like today, we're providing liquidity between Fidelity's stablecoin and USDC. Tomorrow, we can provide liquidity between NVIDIA's certificated share and their tokenized share, and a million other examples. So yeah, that's definitely something we're keeping an eye on.
So that's definitely something they're keeping, tokenization of everything. Stocks, 24/7, 365, everything you can imagine, millions of things, like Tom Farley said, to be tokenized, bullish. We're all very bullish. And here is bullish on X at bullish. Follow them if you would like to keep up with them. Okay, so Coindesk, which Bullish owns part of, or owns, they came out with their quarterly review and outlook of quarter one. And I actually downloaded the documentation, the Coindesk 80 index. They talk about Ethereum ETFs. They talk about Morgan Stanley Bitcoin Trust, Solana peer-to-peer, halving cycle, blah, blah, blah. Well, they brought this up, and there's a page right here dedicated to XRP. Current weight in their platform is 14.7%. Weight change from quarter one 2026 is down 5.3%. Quarter one performance is down 27%. While XRP declined 27% quarter one, its broader narrative continues to evolve beyond its traditional focus on cross-border payments. RLUSD has gained meaningful traction, reaching a market cap of $1.42 billion by quarter end, reflecting growing demand for Ripple's stablecoin offering. More importantly, the core investment narrative around XRP is increasingly centered on the integration of RLUSD and XRP within Ripple's expanding suite of financial services. Supported by a series of strategic acquisitions, this development signals a shift towards building a more comprehensive end-to-end financial ecosystem. RLUSD's Ripple's recent acquisitions, Hidden Road is a prime brokerage, G Treasury is treasury management, Medico is custody, Rail is stablecoin and payment infrastructure, and Palisade is wallet infrastructure. Looking ahead, the key catalyst for quarter two will be the adoption and utilization of RLUSD and XRP and the extent to which these integrations translate into measurable on-chain activity. Ripple's expanding infrastructure provides a strong foundation for this regard. For instance, G Treasury, now Ripple Treasury, reportedly facilitated approximately $13 trillion in transaction volume in 2025, while Hidden Road, now operating as Ripple Prime, clears around $3 trillion annually. That's $16 trillion, people. The integration of RLUSD and XRP across these platforms could serve as a meaningful driver of real-world usage, reinforcing XRP's evolving role within a broader institutional financial ecosystem. Coindesk gets this out in their quarterly report. This is massive, people. And when I went to Ripple Swell last November, they had some displays set up, and they had this evergreen shipping containers. There's the XRP logo. Why do I bring this up? Well, I bring this up because the Iran Strait of Hormuz crypto toll, an evolution of Tehran's expanding use of digital assets. This is a report that came out from Chainalysis. And here is the lowdown. Bloomberg reported on April 1st that Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps was already extracting transit tolls from vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, I think that's how you pronounce it, with ship operators negotiating fees that typically started around $1 per barrel of oil payable in yuan or stablecoins via an IRGC-linked intermediary and permit system. A subsequent Financial Times report quoted a spokesperson for Iran's Oil, Gas, and Petrochemicals Products Exporters Union saying shipping companies would be required to pay a $1 per barrel toll in cryptocurrency to pass through the Strait of Hormuz during the ceasefire. While that statement specifically references Bitcoin, we suspect Iran could prioritize stablecoins over Bitcoin for these tariffs, consistent with the heavy historical reliance on stablecoins by the regime and its regional proxies to engage in illicit trade and sanctions evasion at scale. Excuse me. This development is the latest extension of the IRGC's growing crypto footprint, which accounted for approximately 50% of Iran's total crypto ecosystem in Q4 2025 and has been documented across billions of dollars in transactions, according to OFAC designations, NBCTF seizure list, and leaked Central Bank of Iran addresses. Shipping companies that make payments to Iran for Hormuz passage face significant sanctions exposure as Iran is subject to comprehensive U.S. and international sanctions. This typically requires businesses to obtain a specific license or approval from authorities before transacting with sanctioned entities or jurisdictions. Regulatory bodies, law enforcement, and stablecoin issuers all have a role to play in identifying IRGC-controlled wallets and their counterparties and freezing illicit assets as the situation evolves. So $1 per barrel of oil in crypto, how many millions of barrels of oil go through this Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz? How many billions of barrels of oil go through there a year? And you're looking at $1 per barrel fee to go through this. So coming up at the end of this month, you might be able to find me at XRP Las Vegas 2026. Why? Because I'm going to be wearing my XRP sport jacket with the Phoenix on the inside. I showed this to David Schwartz, Joel Katz. He was like, whoa. And I had my XRP t-shirt. I had the Phoenixes. I had this sport coat made. Yes, it was expensive, but I stand out like a sore thumb. So whenever you see me in Las Vegas, you will be able to find me easily. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. And don't forget, people, I told you so.